we're going to record again. So this question, first of all, I'm going to show you how to read the question. Find the gradient. Okay, so I've been asked to do two things. Find the gradient. That's an important thing. And the y-intercept. So what do we know about a straight line? Gradient intercept. So maybe y equal mx plus c. What is m? Gradient. What is c? The y-intercept. So that's what we've been asked to do. Find those two. And that would give us 3 marks. So how do we get the 3 marks? I need to rewrite this equation with y on its own. I've got 2y minus 6x equal 9. First thing first, I need to get rid of the take away 6x. What's the opposite of taking away 6x? Adding 6x. 2y equal 6x plus 9. Or sometimes you hear people saying, if you move it on the right, it changes sign. So I would rather add 6x both sides. That was the first part. Now, from now on, because I keep seeing people getting this wrong, what I want you to do is at this stage, if you get a question like this, I want you to put brackets here and have a look at 2y. It's 2 times y. What's the opposite of timing by 2? Dividing by 2, but then put the 2 across those. Which means this time y is 6 over 2 x plus 9 over 2. So I think, Miriam, you forgot that 9 over 2. And this is for you. If you put the brackets, that will force you to know that you need to divide both the 6x and the 9. So you've lost a mark. Okay? So it's the whole side that we divide, not just 6x. So now, what is 6 divided by 2? 3. 3x plus 9 over 2. You can leave it like that. And that is your first mark. Remember, I said 3 marks. Now, to get the second and third marks, we need to state what the gradient is. You would just say gradient m equal 3. That'll be another mark. And y-intercept, to get your third mark, y-intercept, c in my case, is 9 over 2. Or, if you want, which doesn't give you an extra mark, you can say, oh, 9 divided by 2 is 4.5, or doesn't give you an extra mark, 4.5. Why do all this extra work when this is enough? 9 over 2 is a fraction, and a fraction is either a division or a number. I chose here to me to be the number. 3 marks. Now, if you had gone and say, oh, but the what we call the y-intercept, instead of saying c equal, but you just wrote the y-intercept is at the point, it's not a, c is not a point there, c is a value, but it's at the point 0, 9 over 2 or 0, 4.5, you will get the mark as well. Okay. But if you say c equals 0, 4.5, I think someone did that, you lose a mark because c is not a point when you write it like this. C is just a value. And if they ask us to give the coordinate of the point of intersect, fair enough, but they've decided to give you the mark if you just say the y-intercept is at the point 0, 4.5. So we just need to answer the questions, guys. C is a value or belongs to that point 0, 4.5. Any question? So these are the type of questions you can get during the final exam. This is still in being able to find gradient and y-intercept. And we've done quite a few of them by now. Second question, again, calculate the gradient of the line joining these 2 points. Whenever I see 2 points, guys, this is what you need to say. I'm going to choose x1, y1, and x2, y2. So please, guys, can you see the way I'm writing 1 and the 2? I'm not writing it like that. I'm not writing it like that, but I'm writing it under 2. I know you're not going to lose a mark for this, but you need to be consistent now, thorough, and seeing that x with a 1 next to it just means 1x. X with the 2 at the top means x times x. Okay, so we need to be diligent with what we do because it shows an understanding of what we do, okay? When we put underscore there for x, it's just a value of a point, not x squared, not 1x or 2x, okay? So try, I know it's hard, you know, bad habits, when this starts, you'll be hard to kill, but you need to work your way. So M, the gradient, the formula for the gradient is, like I said, a rise over a run. So rise is the y-axis. So y2 minus y1 divided by the run across x2 minus x1. y2 is 10 minus 6 over x2 negative 3 minus negative 9. That is your first mark. To get the second mark, we do the sums or calculate. 10 minus 6 is 4. Negative 3, so a minus minus is the same as minus 1 times negative 9, which is plus 9. Negative 3 plus 9 is 6. And what is 4 over 6 in its simplest form? Divide by 2, divide by 2, because they're both even, 2/3. And that is your second mark. And don't go, please don't go and say this is 0.66 because you would lose a mark. It's not 0.66. It is 2/3. Or it would be 0.67 had you decided to give it to 2 decimal places. But why do all this extra work when the only thing it would bring you is to potentially make that mistake and lose that mark? So please, guys, from now on, I know it's difficult, but I want you to see fractions as being a helper, not something that you hated when you were at primary school or division was not your thing. I want you to see it now as something that makes it much easier for you. Okay, so I know it's hard, but this will always lead to problems. This is a fraction, a number, a division. Okay. So if you don't have to put a decimal place, guys, don't do it. Any questions? Anyone wondering why 0.66 doesn't give you a mark? Or can I ask you, Why do you think I didn't give 0.66 a mark for this one? Why do you think 0.66 is wrong?
Because gradients can be like a fraction and be accurate.
So it could be accurate, yeah. But then, you know, when I type this in my calculator and I press the button S to D, the button gave me 0.6666666666666666 and 7. So you just stop. But in reality, this is rounded by the calculator. That 6 goes to infinity and never stops. Why don't you just make it easier for you and write it 2/3? Because if you decide to round it, you need to know the rule of rounding. That 6 force you to round the 6 as a 7, which is what the calculator did, because the next after the 6 here was a 6 as well. Okay, so 0.66 is wrong. 0.67, mentioning that I've decided to give it to 2 decimal place, is okay. So you would get probably the mark, but come on, let's not go into extra work that we don't need to. Okay? And it's simple as, what is a third plus a third plus a third? Can someone tell me what is a third plus a third plus a third?
1.
Yeah, 3/3. 1, 2, 3/3. Now, what is 0.33? If someone tells me this is 0.33 plus 0.33 plus 0.33, what is that?
0.99.
0.99. Can you see a difference between 1 and 0.99?
Yes.
Yes. And that's why this should be how we write 0.33333. Okay. Anyway, next questions. 9x squared minus 49, can that be doing an exam? Yeah. This is a difference of 2 squares. Yeah. Can you see it? This is the same as 3x squared minus 7 squared. Oh, look at that. Only 1 mark. Is it really worth working for this? But there you go. Any marks is a good mark. That could be the mark that makes it a pass or a fail for you. Okay. So 3x, because 9 is 3 times 3, x squared is x to the power. So my solutions is 3x plus 7 times 3x minus 7. Or, doesn't matter which way, it's the same as 3x minus 7 times 3x plus 7. You get the mark whether you give it that way or that way. Okay. Is that okay? Are people still struggling with, you know? So what I would say to you guys before you get to the exam, if you get in and you see something to do with factorize, please take 2 minutes, write down 1 square, 1, 2 square, 4, 3 square, 9, 4 square, 16, 5 square, 25, 6 square, 36, 7 square, 49, 8 square, 8 times 8, 64, 9 square, 81, 10 square, yeah, I would do it. 11 square, who can tell me how to do 11 square? You take 11.
121, isn't it?
Yeah, so whenever you're going to time by 11 a number, I'm going to give you a tip today. When you're going to time by 11 a number, you're going to put those two numbers aside. The number in the middle is the sum of these two numbers. 121. If you don't believe me, can you do 36 times 11 with your calculator? Put those three numbers aside, add them together. What's 6 plus 3? 9. Try 36 times 11 is 396. So I hope today you've learned how to do the 11 timetable for big numbers. 54 times 11. 594. I don't know. Or you might say, what happened if you guess 78 times 11? Can someone guess what 78 times 11 is going to be? So I'm going to put 7. I'm going to put 8 aside. What is 7 add on 8? Oh, so Beth, what's going to happen is this. 7 plus 8 is 15. You put the 5 and you make a remainder 1. So what is 7 plus 1? 8. So it's 858. So now you know how to time by 11, even bigger numbers. You can try it. 78 on your calculator, time 11, 858. And that's the, you know, when people are doing like, you know, these program where you've got to do calculations, etc., etc. These are the tricks that they use. Okay. Good. So now you know even how to time by 11. And for 12, it's 144. So if you know right up to 12, you should be okay to factorize any difference of 2 squares. Okay. So someone might say to me, oh, I don't know how to do 12 times 12. Can you expand the brackets? 12 times 12, guys. 10 times 10, 100. 10 times 2, 20. 2 times 10, 20. 2 times 2, 4. There you go. Today you've used expanding brackets to calculate 12 times 12. That is 144. So if you can teach someone how to expand bracket and tell the person that now they should be able to do any multiplications, then you know why we expand brackets, for example. Okay. That time that, that time that, that time that, and that time that. Who thought you could have done something like this? Anyone? No? Same thing. If someone asks you 56 square minus 55 square, difference of 2 squares, 56 plus 55 times 56 minus 55. What is this? 1. 56 plus 55, 111. What is 111 times 1? You've just applied a difference of 2 squares in a problem where you've noticed they've asked you something quite complicated. So if one day a magician asks you in the crowd, give me 2 big numbers and I'm going to tell you if I square one and I take away the following numbers square, this is how he does it in his head quickly. Is that not a good trick? I hope it is, because I've applied what you've learned in math into something that you could make as a fun. Okay. So all these magicians that work with numbers, that's all they do. They find these easy tricks. Okay. So I hope you're learning something as we go, because these are sides. It's not the type of things like you would be saying your teachers teaching you, but to me, when you learn something, the best way to do to retain it is by looking for ways to enjoy it. Anyway, change the subject of a formula. First thing, whenever you're going to see this, guys, you need to go this fraction. How do I get rid of it? I think that's the first thing you should be thinking. I want to make D the subject. I need to try and get marks here. How do I get rid of a divide by 3? I do the opposite, time by 3 both sides. Then you get 3s equals CD square. Mark number 1. Now I want D square on its own. I'm going to divide both sides by D. Oh, sorry, by C. I need to divide both sides by C. I was getting excited too quickly there. Equal D square. And now this would give you your second mark. 66% done. To get the last mark, now I need to, what is the opposite of squaring? Taking the square root. But guess what? Some people still lose marks here. When you take the square root of 3s over c, you make the square root across 3s over c, not this like a c happening over and over. That is wrong. The square roots needs to go across the whole fraction there. Okay? Any question? My s's look very much like 5s, but you know what I mean. 3s over c, and that is your third mark. Any question with this? Should we move on then? Next I've got simplify. Yep, that is still part of what you can be asked to do. Thank God there are things like you've been asked to do. X cubed times x minus 5 divided by x to the power negative 2. Laws of indices, same base, different index, different indices. I can add them up. So to get your first mark, you would say this is equal to x 3 minus 5. I've just added 3 and negative 5, and I can leave that x minus 2. What is 3 minus 5? It's negative 2, x negative 2. First mark here. Now, the next stage, when you divide, you take away, so that would give you minus 2 minus minus 2. And that is just x to the power negative 2 plus 2, and that is x to the power 0. That would give you your second mark. And what is x to the power 0? Anything to the power 0?
Equals 0.
Ooh. Try that in your calculator. So you've told me that if you take something and you divide it by another thing, the same thing, what happened? Let's say x equal 1. That is a half. That is a half. Is it? No. 1 to the power minus 2 is just 1 over 1 square. 1 over 1 square. What is 1 divided by 1? 1. What is 1 divided by 1? 1. What is 1 divided by 1? Anything divided by the same thing, I want you now to write that somewhere. It is always 1. Okay. And you would never get a 0 because you can't divide 0 by 0, for example. So rule of indices, to the power 0, it's 1. So that would give you a third mark. Would that? Yeah, this was a non-calculator, so you wouldn't be able to check it. But at least now, hopefully you'll remember. So the second question I had here for B was evaluate. Evaluate means find the value of when x equals 9. So you would just put f of 9, a third of 9 to the power half. What is taking something to the power of a half? It's just taking the square root. What is square root of 9? 3. So 1 times 3 divided by 3. Again, what do I have here? What is 3 divided by 3? How many 3's can I fit into 3? Anyone wants to say? What do you think 3 divided by 3 is? Come on, guys. 3 divided by 3. How many 3's can I fit into 3? Okay, I can ask you a different question. 3 times what? Give me.
It's 1.
Come on, there's few ways. 3 times what give me 3? 1, right? Okay. So anything divided by itself is always 1. So that would be 3 marks. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So from now on, as a rule, everyone, A divided by A is equal to what?
A.
So remember, A could be any number. So what you've told me now is, if I ask you 3 divided by 3, A divided by A, you just said to me A. If it's A, that means it would be 3. Is that correct?
No.
So what is 3 divided by 3?
1.
1. What is A divided by A?
1. Okay.
1. What is B divided by B?
1.
What is a million divided by a million?
1.
There you go. So you need to get that into your head, guys, because have you noticed 2 questions came? We got 3 divided by 3, and we got x to the power 0. These ones needs to be something that you learn now by heart. Anything divided by the same thing is always 1.
Yeah.
Okay? So if I've got, I don't know, an icon, no, a smiley face, let's take it even further, divided by a smiley face, what is that?
1.
There you go. Okay? So hopefully that will stick onto you, because it's a misconception that we keep seeing. Because we use letters, people think, oh, it's the same letter. No, it's 1.
Yes, exactly.
Okay? So this question now would not come into the exam. Make it a rational, so means change that square root into a number. I'm going to give you the answer. To do this, you just need to time top and bottom by √2. That's how easy this one was. So that means you get at the top 12 √2, and at the bottom, √2 times √2 is just 2. And 12 over 2 is 6 √2. So for the marks, you would get the first mark by writing this. The second mark would be here, and the third mark would be here. Once again, these kind of questions, you won't have them during an SQ exam. But you will get the next one though. Simplifying thirds, you will get it. So how do we simplify this? More than one way, but I can just say, oh, I'm going to put them under the same square root. So what's 6 times 3? Or 3 times 6?
It's 18.
18. So now, whenever you're going to see a number, first thing you need to do is, can I extract a square number from it? So I've got 18. You've put on the side of your paper that list. Is there a number here that I can time by it to give 18? Which number do you think here I can time by something to get 18?
So 9.
9. So if I go back, and even if you couldn't remember 9, 18
Yeah.
is even, right? How do you have 18? 2 times 9.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll be able to see it this time. And that is just √2
Yeah.
times √9. And what is √9? What number do you time by itself to give you 9?
3.
3.
No. Yeah, 3.
And that's how you get your second mark for this one. Okay, so it would be that one for a mark and that one for the other mark. 2 marks. Easy 2 marks. The only thing we needed to know is divide by 2. Any questions? Maybe someone might say, oh, but I could have got this in a different fashion. Yes, you can. Imagine you had decided, I'm going to break down 6. That would be √3 times √2 times 3. That is √3 times √2 times √3. √3 times √3, that's 3. And then you get your √2. So you could have got it this way rather than going the 18 way. Both are as valuable, as good. 1 mark there, 1 mark there. Okay, so remember there's more than one way to get your answers, but you need to find a way to get it. Which one do you think is easier? The right side or the left side?
Both.
But which one would you do? If you were doing the exam, you're given this one. Would you go for the left or would you go for the right?
Left.
Left. Okay. Anyone else would have gone for the right? No? Maybe? Okay, so question 7, getting there. We've been asked to write a trinomial. So you've got something with 3 parts here, x squared, x. And by the way, x to the power 0 is there, right? You know when someone said to you ax squared plus bx, that's bx1 plus c. It's c is x to the power 0 times c. What did we say x to the power 0 is? Anything to the power 0 is 1. 1c. That is exactly the same. That's why it's called a trinomial. You've got an x squared factor, an x1, and an x0. What we have here. So we've been asked to write in this form, completing the square. How do we complete the square? We look at this number here, and we divide it by 2. Yeah, that would be x minus 3 square. But when I do this, I'm introducing plus 9, because look at what x minus 3 square is. It's x square minus 6x. What's negative 3 times negative 3? Beth, did you give me back your paper for this? Was that, what is negative 3 times negative 3?
So -9.
So try that in your calculator and tell me what you get in your calculator.
Nine.
So is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Yeah. So this is very, very important. Now you know when you time a negative by a negative, you will always get something positive. Okay? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if negative is your enemy and positive is your friend, the enemy of your friend is your enemy. The friend of your friend should be your friend, but the enemy of your enemy is your friend, as far as I know. No? So if this is the way you're going to have to remember it, then you need to try and remember these guys. Okay? Negative enemy, positive friend. So whatever method you use it. So we add 9. So in order to get back to what we needed, what is the opposite of adding 9? I need to take it away before adding that last number. That's all it is. If you need to expand that x minus 3, do that on the side and notice that you've added 9. So then I need to take it away. And that would be equal to x minus 3 square plus 3. Okay, mark. First mark to find minus 3. Second mark to get this answer. Now, what is the question? Determine the turning point. The turning point happen when this here equals 0. That's when the turning point is going to happen. So x minus 3 equals 0. What is x equal to? What is the opposite of taking away 3?
Positive 3.
Positive 3. So that means x equals 3. Turning point is at x equals 3. And when this equals 0, what do you think y is equal to? If this portion is equal to 0, y is equal to what's left? 0 plus 3 equals 3. So y is equal to 3. You write this and then you get a mark. Now, the last question, state its nature. To find the nature, you look at the x square here. Have you got a positive number or a negative number before x square?
Positive.
Yeah, so a, in this case, a equal 1 and is positive. Positive means smiley face. I'm positive, I'm smiling. Means my parabola is hitting a minimum turning point. So you need to write here minimum turning point, and that gives you your last mark. 1, 2, 3, 4. By the way, 4 is big as marks, and this is a typical question that you could get. So what I'm going to ask you is, if you think this was complicated to go through, go back onto the lesson that does completing the square, then go back to the parabola when you've got something in completed the square, and work your way through. These should be the easiest type marks you could get. Okay.
I think I got confused at this one and I put 0 because I don't know why. Always thought it would start as 0, but now I think back, that's like the y-intercept, isn't it, for another type of question?
Correct.
So I think I wrote 0, 3, I think, instead. So I got that one wrong.
So think when you've got x equals 0, it's exactly here, right? It's on this line. So it's like you said, it's when you're going to intercept the y here. Whereas turning points happen when this first part here is equal to 0, which is x minus 3 is equal to 0. And to solve this, you need to have that x equal 3. Okay. And smiley face, minimum turning point. All right. So this question threw a few because they're not used to seeing this with A, B, and C like this. So this is the bit where I said you need to kind of understand what you do rather than going for, oh, this is the same as my y equal A cos bx plus c. That is completely different. That is not what we've been asked to do. We've been asked to find what A is. A is usually the amplitude. So because I can see the amplitude being 2 here, you just write A equal 2. Now, because you've got cos goes from 1 to -1. If you go 1 times 2, it's going to be positive 2. If you go negative 1 times 2, what is C? Negative 1 times 2? What's negative 1 times 2?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. And you've seen them. They are symmetrical, the cos signals. And remember, for the exam, they're not going to move up and down the signal anymore. So you could get a question exactly like this during the exam. Or they can ask you, what is the amplitude? So if they ask you amplitude, then just put amplitude equal to, because that's the amplitude here. It's from the 0 to that point there. That's what we call amplitude, right? Now, if they ask us, state what A is and C is to -2. Now, what is B? They've even put a wee, can you see the small dot there by the B? So they want you to give B as something in degrees. And that should prompt you. If I've got 4 x's, that means 4 of these fits within 360. 1, 2, 3. I need to go one more. 4. So I've got 4 of these within 360. That plus the same, plus the same, plus the same, 4b equals 360. What is b?
Is it 90?
360 divided by 4. Yeah. And you write b equal 90 degrees. Or b in degrees, it's 90 degrees. 3 marks. 1, 2, 3. And
See if you never wrote the wee degrees thing, would you not get them?
No, it's fine. You're not going to lose the mark because look what they've done. They've put it B in degree. So that means B is 90 technically. Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay.
it's like B degrees equals 360 degrees. So B is just 90. So whether you put it or not, they're not going to be, they're not as nasty as that. Come on. But you never know. You could be marked by a really tough marker, no? No, you should be fine. Okay, so in this question, what can you say about the discriminant? Again, this question was put before the SQA. So you're not going to get a question like this. But what we know is because we've got two roots, yeah, the discriminant is positive. Yeah, so two roots means discriminant has got to be positive. That's all the question was. Because remember, there is a formula where it's plus and minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. That's given to you, right? Over 2b. That is your discriminant. So if you've got something here with two roots, that means b squared minus 4ac is positive. That's all. 1 mark. What can you say about the value of a? Is it a happy face or a sad face?
So sad face.
Sad face. What did we say when we sad? Are we positive or negative when we sad?
Negative.
There you go. A is negative. Second mark. Okay. So I'm teaching you these wee tricks, but that's not very good math, by the way. But I'm giving you mnemotechnic ways to remember these things. So the day you're going to see a negative smile, think it's got to be, sorry, a sad face, that's negative. If it's a happy face, that is happy. That means A is positive. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to remember that. Just 2 questions to go. Write as a single fraction in its simplest form, this. Okay, so how do we get the marks for this? Some people would tell me, oh, I use cross and smile, but to get your first mark, you need to have a common denominator. How do we find a common denominator? First of all, what I would everyone like to do is something like this. When you get a type of question like this with a minus or a plus in between, go with this. You can't go wrong. So the solution for this is to make the common denominator x minus 6 times x plus 3. To time x minus 6 by x plus 3, you need to time the top by x plus 3. And for the next one, to make it again the common denominator x plus 3 times x minus 6, I need to time the top by x minus 6. That means those fractions are equivalent now. This one is equal to this one because that divided by that is 1. That divided by that is 1. Remember what we said? Anything divided by the same thing is always 1. This is your first mark. Now your second mark is to write 3 times that minus 5 times that, mark number 2. Now, how do we get the last mark? We need to expand. 3x, what's 3 times 3? 9. Minus 5x. Oh, what is minus 5 times minus 6? The enemy of my enemy, is that my friend? Negative 5 times negative 6. plus 30. Yeah. And to get your last mark, you need to group the likes. 3 minus 5x, that's negative 2x. Yeah. Plus 39. 30 plus 9, 39 over the common denominator, x minus 6 times x plus 3. Okay. And that is your third mark. Everyone happy with that? Let's go to the, any questions? Some of you cross and smile, that's fine, yeah? It should give you the same.
I'm just looking at my answers and like, I don't know why I've done it. I've like written that, but the top part, but scribbled it out, and like I don't think I've rewritten it again because I made the mistake, but it's fine. I know how to do it now anyway. But just in case you're marking mine and you wonder why I've done that, I've like scored the answer out and then.
Yeah, I noticed that you went and scored this 30. Oh, you've not given me the last piece to get the last
it was
mark.
the last. Because I realised I made the mistakes. I was like, why have I done that? And then I've just forgot to rewrite it. I've just moved on, but it's fine. It's okay.
So remember, whenever you're going to do this during an exam, if you scribble something out, make sure you replace it with something. And if you're not sure, leave whatever you scribble, because sometimes that could give you a mark. Even if it's wrong, if your working is okay, you still get a mark. So before you scribble something out, if you don't have anything else to replace it with, leave it there. Okay, you're not going to get a negative mark, put it that way. Okay, so it's against the rule of marking. You don't get taken away a mark. You can only get it added onto your marks. Okay. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So last question. Oh, some of you went, oh, I can see an area. Big mistake. Yeah, I've seen that. Pi r square. Your eyes got drawn into that. Do you think they've asked us to calculate an area, or they've asked us to calculate something different? What have we been asked to calculate?
Oh, is it the arc length?
They've asked us to calculate this plus this plus this.
Oh, is it Pythagoras? No.
No, the perimeter of something. That's what they've asked us to calculate. What is the perimeter of a square? It's to go around the square, yeah? If I ask you calculate the perimeter of a square, 1 meter by 1 meter, what do you go? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Yeah? Perimeter equal 4 meter. Here, perimeter is going to be 3 plus 3. Yeah? Plus the arc length that you know how to calculate. And how do we calculate an arc length? Can someone remind me? Theta over 360, theta being the angle, time pi d. Yeah. And that is the only thing you need to remember, because remember, during the exam, they're not going to ask you for an area. They've removed it. But they could be nasty enough to write it like this. Calculate the perimeter of the shaded area. So think now, area, no. The SQA can't tell you, I'm not going to test you with this, and then you go and do it. That's because, and I can see some, I wouldn't say nasty person, but someone quite cunning and saying, you know what, I'm going to send them that question and see how many is going to fall for it. So perimeter is this arc length plus 3 centimeter plus another 3 centimeter. Some of you gave me the arc length, but forgot to give me the other two. I think Miriam, you probably one of them, no? You calculated the arc length, but you forgot to add the other two legs of your journey. Yeah. So if you write that and you start replacing, so if R equals 3, what is D?
6.
6 centimeter. So it's double the R. So now I'm going to replace everything I need. 120 divided by 360 time, what did they ask us to use pi as? 3.14. So we're just going to do exactly what they've asked us. 3.14 times 6 plus, what's 3 plus 3?
6.
6. Okay. Now, this is the bit where we need to be a bit savvy, right? I've got 120 divided by 360. It's the same as 12 over 36. Now, if you've got 6 and you've got 36, what is 6 divided by 36?
6.
Oh, the common
Oh,
mistake.
no.
Divide by 6, divide by 6. What is 6 divided by 6?
1.
What is 36 divided by 6?
36 divided by 6. 6.
So can you see the difference? 6 over 36 is 1 over 6. Yeah? So take that out, and replace that with 6. What is now 12 divided by 6?
2.
2. There you go. So this nasty looking thing is down to 2 times 3.14 plus 6. What is 2 times 3.14?
6.28.
6.28 plus 6. What is 6.28 plus 6?
12.28. I'm so annoyed with myself because I thought I'd done that one right and it took me ages and I thought I got it, but I done area instead of arc length.
Yeah, but now you know 2 things, right? Read. But then the other thing that you've learned today is the SQA won't ask you for an area. Okay. So hopefully that second part will stay with you right up to the 4th of May, right? You are not going to be asked to calculate an area. Forget about pi r square. Okay. Plus, as well, remember, perimeter, you need to go all the way around. So a lot of people forgot to give me the 3 plus 3 at the end. They've only done the 6.28. So to get the marks, this is how this is marked. 4 marks, right? First one to write that expression. Second one to start simplifying. And third one, where's the third one? Oh, you need to replace, yeah, when you replace all this, you get a mark. That 2 pi r gave you a mark. And then the last one, centimeter, guys, not centimeter square, perimeter, centimeter. So if you're gonna be asked a question with a part of a circle, it's gonna be a centimeter answer, okay, not an area. All right, guys, so I can't go through them with more detail than what we've done, but at least now you know what you need to really tune into, what you need to read, what you need to pay attention to. And remember, after 2 papers, I can guarantee you, you're going to start to get a bit tired, yeah? So that's nothing we can do. So if you can bring a bit of a, I don't know, banana or something as you go through, it's always good to have one in between. It helps you to regain a bit of energy, yeah? And drink as well. Sorry?
sorry, to interrupt you there. So see like that mini one that we've just went through, that one's a lot easier, I found. So is that more kind of like the kind of level that we're going to get in the prelim?
Correct. It's going to be more like the prelim and more close to as well what the SQA exam is going to be. But now you know where you need to pay attention to, right? And to me, the first thing is make sure you read the question and read it again. Don't just skim and say, oh, I see area, I see. Because it's a natural thing that we do, right? We skim through because we've got that green light syndrome. We need to move on to the next question. You feel like, the stress? Stress is something that is always negative, right? And that's what happened. When people get stressed, they want to move on. And to move on, they skim things through. Okay, so don't panic, don't stress, and just say, if I stress, I'm going to do worse than what I could have done without stressing. You might say, oh, it's easier for you to say because you're not in front of the paper, but I can guarantee you, if you stress, if you put everything down and start, saying, I'm going to think of something nice before I go back into it, it might help, right? Everyone has got his own technique. But to minimize that stress, you need to be prepared though. You need to go and feel like I've done as much as I could have done by now to go and sit. And now, it's just going to be what it's going to be. You don't want to come out and regret and say, you know what, I wish I had done a bit more. Because there's nothing worse than that regret, that sense. Whereas if you've done a max, you went, okay, things sometimes don't work out. You can always say, you know what, I've learned quite a lot of things here. That's not lost. I can always try it again. But, be prepared when you go through. And the last word I would say, if you think you're not going to put the time and effort to go and do it, there's nothing worse than going to go and sit an exam and having an incline of thinking, you know what, I think I'm going to fail. You might as well not go and sit that exam. It's probably better for you not to sit it if you think you're going to go and fail it. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to stop recording now. We went through it all.